Hello. Oh, we are. We're live now. Hello, 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 everybody. Okay. All right. Please let me know if the reception is okay, guys. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's lunchtime chats. My name is Christina. I am the acceleration expert. And we are here to talk about topics and issues that are significant for us starseeds, way showers, new paradigm visionaries. These are topics and issues that we are faced on a daily basis, and I do my best to offer the liberated perspective on these topics and issues. So welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you want to be part of this conversation, as in contribute to the kinds of things that we talk about in the lunchtime chats, I encourage you guys to check out the Rise of the Multidimensional Human Facebook group or the Multidimensional Human Telegram group. And those are two places where we cultivate these conversations. So those of you who've checked us out on Telegram, I want to let you know that I figured out how to turn the commenting on so we can truly have conversations in that group. So that's just a follow-up thing that I like to use because of all the shenanigans going on in Facebook. I really don't want to, have our community connectivity dependent on that. All right, I'm going to check in with the comments. You guys are letting me know that we're coming in 5 by 5. The sound is good. All right. Hello, dear sister Laura. Mwah, love you, darling. Hello, Facebook user. And I am blurry. Okay, I get that. I'm blurry. Hi, love seeing you. Hi, Polly. Hi, Hodai. Let me know if the blur factor gets better. It looks like there's more bars. All right, so I'm getting not great picture quality from dear sister Starshine, Polly as well. All right, you guys, I'm going to try something. It might disconnect, and if it does, I'll be right back. So let me go ahead and see what I can do about that. All right, I'm going to switch to roaming gnome guest and see if
You're
that...
not.
Huh?
You're not.
It's... What does it say?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, guys, it's working. Let me know if that improved the sound quality. Hello, Laurel. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate your feedback. On my device, it looks like it's all coming in great, but I know, through the whole network thing, it may not be so great. So please let me know if this is an improvement. So I have a lot of great topics to talk about today. Let me pull them up. Pull up the topics, and I want to thank everybody for contributing to the conversation thread because you guys have some really things to share. And I know I'm trying to get more up that I wanted to talk about, and it seems like you guys have that too. So let me get to the topics, and I will go and announce them. All right, the topics. Oh, make sure I'm on mute. Yeah, I'm going on camera so I can be on my phone with y'all. Mm-hmm. All right. Oh, geez. This is not happening. All right, let me go to YouTube and see what that does. I may have to just paraphrase from memory the topics. So, okay, I'm getting a sound is in and out. Let's see if that improves. Sound was garbled for a second, and image is still more or less. All right. This is rather frustrating, I know, when the picture's not great and the sound garbles out. If it smooths out, wonderful. But if it continues, we'll see what we can do. All right. Yeah, my thing is frozen too. I can't use this website. Okay, I'm gonna have to go by memory, guys. Oh, 20%, remember? All right, so, I think it froze because I went on my phone and used the very narrow bandwidth that we're working with right now. So I will not do that, and instead I'll try to go from memory about what the topics are. All right, so the first thing was I wanted to talk about the depopulation narrative in relation to vaccines. This is something that's coming up, and people are saying that it just does not... Oh, thank you, Laura. You totally rock. She's copying and pasting the topics for me. Thank you, darling. Woohoo! It takes a village, right? All right. So it says, why with the deep state, why the deep state depopulation narrative via the vax doesn't add up? Yes, because I totally want to talk about that, because that's something that's been brought to my attention several times. And there's several of you actually have PM'd me in conversation about this private, because you wanted to share your own intuitive sense about that. So I'm going to talk about this, and then I'm going to talk about why do some say forgiveness is perpetuating the disempowerment/victim program. This is a huge thing. If you guys did not catch Michael Harrell's video that was posted in this group, please check out that video. So what and where this developed from is that I'm a major proponent for forgiveness as an alchemical process to bring compassion and healing to our ancestors, but also to ourselves and, different beings, like in, relationships and stuff like this. And then dear brother Michael posted the thing, never forgive, la, 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 la. And when I was in the Sasquatch conference, we were doing constellation work. The facilitator of that process, who was brilliant, by the way, her name was Dort, also said, never forgive. And that was like right after my ancestral healing workshop, where I was like, you need to forgive. So I know on the surface it seems like it's in conflict, but it's not. It's actually I want to put into context the difference between forgiveness, where it's you perpetuating a disempowerment program, and versus when forgiveness is in the hands of you as a master, in using it as an alchemical process to bring compassion into the situation. So this is something that I'm really glad that we get to talk about. So Michael Harrell put a video in the Rise of the Multi-Dimensional Human group explaining his why forgiveness a disempowerment program, and then what's the difference. And I think everybody needs to hear that, because what he's about and the way he breaks it down, it's brilliant. And well, I love you. You're awesome. And I know that he does a lot of free work with people who are struggling with heartache, heartbreak, trauma, PTSD. So if you really resonate with his message, I encourage you to check out his group. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the group right offhand, but if you contact him, he'll totally direct you. He'll respond and direct you to where you need to go for that. Okay, then we have the topic, which is healing. Why does happens after the here and now? You might want to have been thinking about that, especially if you went to the ancestral healing workshop that we did at the Sasquatch conference. Why does what happened to our ancestors upon their transition into the next world, why does that impact us in the here and now? It wasn't us, right? So I'm totally talking about that. All right, is the sound any better? Please let me know. Please let me know. All right. Sound is way garbled. All right, let me see what I can do about that, guys. Un momento. I'm still using that. Yeah. You know what? I bet you my webcam sound takes much less bandwidth. Okay, guys, I just switched the sound source. Okay, the sound is bad, capital. Thank you, darling. I got that. I just switched the sound source. Is it any better? So I have a stereo microphone, which I know takes up a lot more bandwidth, and I just switched over to the camera microphone. It's better. Okay, thank you. Maybe not great, but it's better. Okay. We go on the roof. So we're outside, just so you guys know where. Okay, I'm getting it's much better. Okay, so where I'm at, I'm on the west coast of the Washington and Gig Harbor, and it's so beautiful. There's lots of trees, and reception's not so great. So we're doing the best with what we have around that. But this area is absolutely beautiful in so many ways and so moist. I'm not used to moisture. As you guys know, we're from Colorado. It's super arid where we're from, and all the places we've been traveling, which is Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, northern Idaho. We've been in these places where everything is just pretty arid. So to be in this level of moisture is interesting climate change for us. All right, I'm going to get on to the topics now. Let me do the activation, and then we'll dive into these pieces. All right, let's start with the outer nesting doll. So this activation process is pretty simple, but by us visiting our awareness to these different nesting dolls, it actually opens up the fields within us so we can perceive things differently than we normally would when we're walking through our everyday world. Okay, so in some ways, depending on how flexible your awareness is, it's activating more of the dreamtime realms while you're still awake. So when we are flexible in our awarenesses like this, we can look at things, and we can look at things in a very different way than what we're used to, because as you know, our synaptic patterns they're like roads and grooves, and when our thinking habits are held together, held in these grooves, and when we are there's something called neuroplasticity, and when you're visiting brain waves or outlooks, perceptions, newness, you're creating different grooves, new grooves, which actually enhances your potential to expand into new thought, new ideas. And this is part of waking up to the dreamtime work is being able to step outside the stories of how we think things are and go into something that's unknown that our spirit's trying to bring to us. So the more flexible we can be with our neural patterns, the better off we are in new thought and bringing in new ideas and new solutions even to these challenges that we're facing today. All right, so outer nesting doll. That is on the screen. It is the outer nesting doll. All right, so this outer nesting doll, we're going to call that the galactic plane. And within this galactic plane, the consciousness that we associate with connecting into the galactic plane is stuff like infinite compassion. We might consider the Godhead. Well, they call it Godhead, but she's not actually a God. That's the Kuan Yin consciousness. This is the Mother of God consciousness. This is the holder of infinite compassion consciousness. Okay, however you relate to it, but in humanity, it's ingrained in our experience, and there's not a single some kind of story, some kind of character personification that connects to this level of our being. Okay, so this is the galactic plane, and this is the outer nesting doll that all humans that have a human DNA body have access to. And then we have the next nesting doll within that, which is the all that is presence. The all that is presence is what maybe a lot of people might call God or prime creator. Okay, this all that is weaves through everything. There's nothing in existence that is not part of the all that is. It's absolutely unconditional. So no matter how dark, no matter how light, you are part of the all that is presence. Now, there are keepers of these nesting dolls. Okay, I'm going to talk about keepers because humans are keepers too, but we need to frame up our relationship to the what we're keepers of. So the keepers of the all that is presence, as in they maintain the bridge of connection, perception for other beings, that we would call them the Galactic Federation. How many of you out there channel the Galactic Federation, right? The old paradigm, but there's a new paradigm, keepers of this consciousness, and that would be referred to as the Intergalactic Federation. Okay, so that means there's multiple galactic connections that relate to this all that is, many galaxies within galaxies. So it's a little bit of an expansion of understanding. Now, humans right now, this new paradigm, if you were to explain in a gist, or if I were to explain in a gist what that new paradigm means, it means us waking up to the truth of who we are so we can reclaim our position as galactic citizens, as in citizens that participate and have a voice of how the consciousness of the galaxy unfolds. Okay, the entire galaxy, not just our neighborhood or our community. I'm talking about the entire galaxy. We're the galactic family that we all belong to. So the nesting doll within this is the stellar networks. The stellar networks, yes, that's a whole. This intergalactic federation is, playing a role here to connect our consciousness with many beings throughout the cosmos. So the many nations of the Andromeda galaxy are the keepers of this galactic highway of light, what I call the stellar networks. We all have access to these stellar networks. There's many, 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 many flavors of these stellar networks. Okay, so some flavors are very, let's say, like song, music, beauty, compassion, and there's other flavors that are a little bit more technical that maybe we associate with AI or TI. Okay, so there's many flavors of these style networks, and most people who channel information are channeling via the stellar networks. This is how those beings are coming in contact with you. Now, those of you who are channeling beings that are other than you, you know what I mean? There's degrees of separation there. So it's kind of like having a relationship with a being from another galaxy or a universe or something. But those of you who are channeling aspects of who you are, like you channel your higher self, or maybe Pleiadians, and later figure out that that Pleiadian consciousness is actually you, right? So, but nevertheless, that stellar network is how that connection reaches your conscious mind. Okay, so you quite literally have an entire galaxy of galactic highways within your body, within your biosuit. So, so remember that there's stellar networks. We think about that. We think that it's out here, but actually, it's all inside of here. It's in both places, and it's most empowering to access them within you versus going outside yourself. All right, so that's the nesting doll after the isness. So we have the isness, we have the networks, and then we have the next level of density. That next level, oops, all right, I'm starting to make eggs here. That next level of density, which is your light body. As you guys know, sound creates shape, and that shape is your light body. So you have a tone as you emerge out of the isness, and that tone turns, as it comes through the dimensions, through the densities, turns into a light body, turns into a pattern, a light pattern. And that light pattern is the morphic field that you are going to infuse and explore with your consciousness. So the light body is something that is a map, a divine blueprint, if you will, for your unfoldment throughout the entire Milky Way galaxy. Within that blueprint, it contains everything that you have, that your frequency has a desire or intent to explore. And then once that light body comes into form, that's the map of all your potential. And then the next layer is to actually explore all that potential, which is the soul's journey. The soul's journey is that journey that never ends, continues. So all the lifetimes, all the parallel lifetimes, all of this is the soul's journey that you, the record connects much act and understand things. So you can go into the Akasha and explore entanglements that you have on a soul level, and you'll be able to understand the story of that. And we understand something like this, our conscious mind budget. And when you entangle something, you entangle life force energy from something within the akasha, you're actually pulling life force energy from that entanglement and releasing it so it can be part of your quantum in the here and now. And this is how we build stronger and stronger quantum within the physical body. The physical body is the whole point of why we're here. So in this way, I really don't resonate with a lot of the different kinds of ascension narratives that have leaving your body or no longer needing your body as part of the story. For me, it's about infusing your body with your quantum, with full awareness of who you are. So that means when you're infused within your physical form, you remember everything within the soul's journey. You remember and feel and are aware of your light body potential and why you're here now, being so within. And what happens is that we can actually create things that we truly want. We don't have to jump through hoops of structures. Like right now, if you want something, you have to figure out how to work the mechanisms of 3D to make it happen. Right? If you want, like, say, you have an intention to create something, how we're trained, we need to figure out how to make the money. We need to figure out what the rules are. You know what I mean? We have all these hoops that we have to jump through in order to have what it is that we truly want. When the masters who have come here before have shown us, you can just do it. The stories of Saint Germain creating jewels with his palms, right? So he didn't have to go. He did not have to go, figure out how to find jewels. No, he just pulled that intent in his connection with the telluric realm and made it so. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm seeing the times where these sounds for 20-30 seconds, but most of it is coming through. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you for the heads up. It's really a bummer that the sound comes. I'll try to talk slowly because I can ramble through stuff real fast. All right, so that's the Akasha, the soul's journey. All right, the next layer is our belief systems, our collective field, our collective conscious. Our collective conscious is invisible, yet has a very tangible form of influencing our reality. Just like I was talking about those belief systems, right? Or I'm sorry, the constructs, the hoops that we need to jump through, that we think we need to jump through in order to create something that we want. Okay, so the 4D field pretty much is the belief system that we've set up to set the rules of reality, right? So we have energetic levels of belief systems, which a lot of intuitives would perceive as consciousness grids, right? We have other kinds of belief systems that are anchored into our lineage. So even if you're not part of a belief system, it's part of your consciousness, the actual genes of your body, DNA even. So there's a lot to the power of the 4D. You can, something that's really interesting I've been thinking about the past couple of days is the power of the written word. If you guys recognize these law books, right? We have libraries, books. This is how they describe it. And if you had a law that was not in books, then it doesn't have influence, no power, no matter how many people agree. You know what I mean? If you had something that a philosophy only because of senses, that is more of a belief system or maybe even a religion. So there's changes with the energy when we put something into dating. Oh, the other thing I want to say about belief, so there's a lot of magical works that really, there's a lot of magicians and alchemists that really mastered this 4D field. The 4D, and that is anchoring energies within our reality via the telluric realm. So there's that kind of piece, and the other piece is linear time, the idea of something having a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I want to address this because the belief systems of this planet has told us humans that we have a beginning, right? And somewhere we have a beginning. Now, there's the beginning of our physical form, but there's also our soul has a beginning, as in our soul was created by something. So, but when we go out here in this level, you guys recognize that there's no time. There's just isness. And in all that is, there is no beginning, there is no end. It's just a continuous isness that just is. So a lot of our ideas about who we think we are on a human level, but also on a soul level, have been infiltrated with these ideas, these linear concepts. So just recognize that linear time only exists right here in that 4D field. Once you go into the telluric realm, like mountains and stones and crystal cities, stuff like this, there's no linear time. You go into the field, and there's no linear time. We're actually going to past last alternate lives and long ago, and it's back here now. That is not a linear event. So just adopt that into your awareness when you are thinking about yourself as physical. Okay, so the camera will out. Okay, so then the next field. The next field is the next nesting doll is the 3D reality space. The idea of separation. So I'm separate from this tree physically. There's a separation, but if I were to tune in to the elements that are within my body, that this tree also, this tree, and I can now be in communication. Now, it's not a mental communication, it's purely in a feeling, intuitive way, but it's all I need to do is start resonating, start tuning in to these aspects of my body, and I will have a direct conduit of communication with that tree. And through sympathetic resonance, there is no space any longer. We are in the same resonance, right? So we're the same in that way. So even in 3D, even in 3D, we can experience deep connection. And then we have but this 3D space is like a playground. This is like this magical playground for us to experience things and create the things that we want and explore what we create and stuff like this. And this is a valuable tool of our conscious evolution. So a lot of belief systems have this as a prison kind of situation. I just want to say, because we believe we are. That kind of limitation, we now can experience the truth of who we are on our level and our true ability to influence the 3D reality. Okay. And I know, there's a lot of pain in this reality, but that's not the only thing. Pain can be a catalyst for us to grow and become stronger in who we are in this biosuit. It's not all about suffering. That's a program that has been given to us where we keep ourselves in a suffering mode, and then we close down. And once we're closed down, now we're very easily controlled because we can't see beyond our own pain and suffering. Okay, this is where religion comes in. All right, then we have the next nesting doll, which is that telluric realm. Oh, look, I just keep getting more and more like an egg. And this telluric realm is the language of atoms and molecules, but it's also, what happens when you get a bunch of molecules together to create cells. And the cells have a language. They take in ionic charges and they release ionic charges. So this is how the telluric realm is engaging with our 3D space, is through the charge of the ions all around us. So when you're in a space that's really rich in negative ions, it's really great for your body. It's very sedative to your nervous system, and brings us into a deep state of rest and digest, and our bodies can heal and recover. So the telluric realm has its own kind of language. There's that kind, there's, like I said, the ions and the molecules and atoms exchange, but then there's also resonance that also is in that language. Like I mentioned with the tree, we have worlds within worlds within worlds across this planet. So it's not fair to say that the solar realm is super dense. It really that, but there's all right. The things that we do is a bunch of nesting dolls like this to create this experience. So our biosuit goal to access these dimensions through our emotional body. So in this way, you can see how trauma, and PTSD and all this stuff can be very easily can interrupt our ability to use our own body in a way. So humanity has been manipulated. And I don't want to say this is a good thing, but we keep doing this. Was the deal. So on some level, we're intentionally engaging with people, and I'm here that's what I feel like. But just what the role is. What is the role for you to be here? Right? And that is the center of the core I think we're back. We're back? We're back! All right. Oh boy. I texted Christina that she totally. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know, Lori. Thank you, Laurel. Thank you guys. Please, man, you guys are hanging in like troopers. Thank you. All right, let me get back to. I'm not sure where that left off, so let me get back to the here and now. All right, so we're going to the here and now. So the real power as a human being is in the here and now. Okay, yay, I'm back, woohoo. Okay, so in the here and now, we can make our choices. When we're making our choices completely with what is presenting in the here and now, this is where our true power is. Okay, if we are in the here and now in relationship with things as they are in that moment, it's a very pure kind of connection. Our authentic nature is there, and we encourage others to be in their authentic stream as well, and it's really powerful. But if we are in the here and now and we're thinking about the relationship of the past with the people with us in the here and now, we're in a disempowered state because we're not all here. We're a little bit back there, and we're a little bit whirling in our pain and or suffering, right? Whirling in this, and then that much bandwidth is not with us in the moment, and then we're not truly seeing what is there. We are being reminded of what's back there by what's in front of us. You see what I mean? So for those of us, who are super sensitive and have past life memories and stuff like this, it's like those past life memories are there to help you recognize what part of you is not here right now. Okay, what part of you is still entangled in something elsewhere. The more we can have our quantum right here, right now, the more powerful we are as a human being. Now, I've seen people come into situations that were highly charged, like, big charge. And they come in, and it requires an open heart and being in your body, right? They come in very steady in their energy. They will share what it is they have to say, and they will completely change the energy in the room. The people who are spewing will stop, because they get reminded for a minute, like, oh, so when you're in the here and now, in your authenticity, you have a direct influence on what unfolds. It's not about it doesn't matter how much momentum has led up to that moment. It's really helpful when you're with other people who are willing to let go of the story of what was and be in the here and now, fresh and new. Unfortunately, that's not the default that we experience in the human world, but when you have people that are showing up like that, it's really, really powerful. So weaving this into this piece with, all right, I'm going to start with the ancestor thing. Weaving this into the piece with the ancestors. Ancestral healing is really important for us because we inherit the belief systems and patterns of our parents and our grandparents. We inherit those systems. You are born out of your mother's womb. In my perception, life starts at the time of conception. Okay, you are with your mother from the moment you're conceived. All the thoughts and emotions and experiences your mom goes through, you experience as your own. Okay, so by the time you're born into the world, you've already been tuned a bit and programmed a bit to orientate to the world in a way similar to your mother. That doesn't mean you're not fresh and new, because you are. Your personality hasn't been cultivated yet. You're just pure spirit in a body, experiencing just, being in your body, right? So we are deeply connected in with our mother. We're deeply connected in with our family energetically, via these programs, these ideas, via this 4D field of who we think we are, all that stuff. So even if we choose a life different than our parents, we still have the momentum of that informing us in our decisions. And this is an interesting phenomenon, because most people are making decisions for their lives to either be like their parent or to be nothing like their parent. Rather than just completely sourcing from what is it they truly authentically want in the here and now for their experience. Okay, just let that, just feel into that a little bit. So when we have trauma, there's actually already been studies that show this. When we have trauma, our children will continue the trauma. it passes down through the generations. PTSD is also passed down. Okay, so this is so all the programming that previous generations have gone through to make them acquiesce to certain things, or create and do things that are against the truth of what they want, that is a momentum that we inherit. Now, this also includes how they die. So if your ancestors died a very traumatic death and they never crossed over, the fact that they never crossed over, never found peace, that affects you. That affects you in the here and now. And affects you because they are in the astral. They're in this 4D field, lost and confused, and they never truly get to come full circle, come back home. Now, I know that, I've talked about how the afterlife has been manipulated. That's true. But it also, there's degrees to this. Recently, we discovered, there's been a discovery of, wait a minute, before I go on to that, let me finish the manipulated thing. So the manipulation is about self-judgment. It's about keeping entanglements in certain records of the Akasha. That's one level of the manipulation. The other level of the manipulation is that judgment that keeps us here in the reincarnational cycles of this planet. So when you die, if you choose to go into the light, you'll go into the light and you'll face a life review. Many near-death experience people have gone that far and had that sensation that their whole life was flashing before their eyes. Now we're stepping outside of linear time. It's like you can see your whole life in an instant. And whatever thought, emotion you have about that, regret, guilt, whatever, that thought, that emotion is so powerful in these fields, it'll take you to the next life to finish up your business around that. Okay, so in this way, that experience of the life review is part of the manipulation. It also keeps us repeating the same thing over and over and over again. You guys know this. I've talked about this many times, and in healing sessions, people recognize that this is not your first rodeo. You've done this dance with this other person maybe over and over and over again. And when I say it, and when I'm looking at that energy and I say it out loud, the person knows what I'm saying is the truth because of how deeply that resonates. We take care of the entanglement. They're no longer in that cycle of repeating it over and over again. It's like you quite literally feel liberated, like you have a new lease on life once that subconscious pattern is released, and now you're not doomed to keep repeating it. So that's a thing. But also, the powers that be are really sophisticated. They know us more than we know ourselves. So in that way, they have us at a disadvantage. But we are so powerful that once we wake up to who we are multidimensionally, we can reclaim our reality, and there's nothing that can be done to stop us. So we just need a handful of folks who are willing to walk that path of empowerment, and we will retake our world and live the life that we truly want and have the planet and reality we truly want. So don't get too discouraged when you see the masses, playing their games and just kind of being I guess the term is sheep that they are choosing to be. Getting back to the ancestors. So what happens to the physical body on a telluric level of our ancestors affects us, and what happens to the soul affects us. All right. So on a telluric level, the Catholic priests, the great example is, when they do death rites for somebody. When they do death rites, if you ever watch a priest do this, they do a Southern Cross on the three main centers of the human body. Okay, and according to the Inca, these are the main centers, power centers of the new human, but also of those who are awoke to their rainbow bodies. It's up here. It's your connection to Creator Spirit. It's right here, your connection to love and feeling, and right here, which is your solar plexus, which is your ability to take action in alignment with what you know here and here. They actually do a Southern Cross. What does a Southern Cross do? It closes energy. It closes the movement of those energy centers. So it actually, if the person is in the process of dying and haven't left the body yet, it actually locks their energy in that physical form. And then to add insult to injury with that, they get trapped in the body, and then they embalm the body and put it in a casket and put it in a concrete box. So the form cannot go back to the earth. It cannot dissolve and go back to the mother. Okay, so it keeps us locked energetically in a pattern when this happens. Now, and they also outlaw or make it a sin to cremate. Really, when you're cremating somebody, you are liberating them. Their telluric, their biosuit and all the telluric realms. You're liberating them exponentially, very quickly. This is why the Buddhists do this. The Rinpoches, the sacred humans, will pass. They will have a sacred ceremony and burn the body. And then the ones who are highly evolved will leave jewels within the ashes. They collect those jewels and they use those jewels to find the reincarnation of that being, which, they've done this for thousands of years. This is the only culture that I know of where that practice has survived. The Mayans used to do this. The Inca used to do this. Many cultures used to do this, but the practice got lost because we lost our perspective of what death is about. Okay. It's just crossing through a threshold. You're just crossing us back and forth through a threshold with death. You're still the same being. You're just crossing back and forth. You're changing biosuits. And the big power is and keep your lineage intact, keep your soul memory intact. And now you are an extremely empowered, powerful human being with those two things. And this is why families are, they break up the family. There's trauma dramas in the families. There's a culture created to make enemies out of your family members. You know what I mean? Like the idea of being connected to your family through many generations is very rare. It's like, I don't know many Westerners at all that can recount 13 generations back. Okay. The ones that are, the top 1% families, they can count their generations back. Okay, because that's how important it is, our ancestors, the integrity of that connection. So what happens afterwards and what happens to the bodies is very impactful for us. And this is where that ancestral healing practice comes in, and forgiveness. Now, like I said, please watch Michael's video, because I love what he said there, because the kind of forgiveness we're taught in the world is not the empowered kind of forgiveness. It's the maintaining the victim. When you are in pain and you're saying that you forgive somebody, you are not honoring your pain. You are not in your body feeling what is actually the truth inside. Okay, so that's not the kind of forgiveness that I promote. I promote forgiveness as if it's in the hands of a master, you being the master. Okay, this means if you ever looked at the practice that I've posted to this group, I share it freely for you guys to play with. What happens is that you are calling on all of your ancestors. You're reconnecting to your lineage, going back before time was time. So just the act of doing that is massively healing for you and all of your ancestors. When you can recall them going back before time was time, you're healing trauma dramas, you're healing souls that were lost. There's a massive healing that's happening, but with your connection in this way. And when you bring forgiveness and compassion into that lineage, because it's not the personality, the dysfunctional, addicted, abusive people you're forgiving, you are acknowledging the divinity of those beings, the soul level of those beings, and establishing your connection on that level. And so you're reclaiming, let's say, their soul's journey. You're helping them remember who they really are and why they're here and their intent on that level. And then you are connected on that level and become much more deeply resourced. You actually exponentially enhance the life force energy that's available to you, your quantum, in the here and now, by connecting with your ancestors in that spirit, in that way. Okay, so in that way, forgiveness is a massive power piece. It's a superpower. So once you call on your ancestors, both your mother line and your father line, and you can reach the energy going back before time was time, now you are poised as a multi-dimensional being, fully supported by your people, by the earth. Okay, you are a master at that point, and now you can call on other beings to bring compassion to and release them from their roles. You can release them from their trauma, from their guilt, from their shame. Okay, so when you do this, you are liberating beings that are locked, that have entanglements in the Akasha that are keeping them from being even more present in the here and now. So, so forgiveness has been hijacked, just like everything else in this human reality. But when we reclaim it and wield it, and for our purpose, it becomes a tool to liberate beings, a tool to liberate yourself. Okay, so in the academy, I've had people, and I think as it comes up, I, they played with it and made it their own. I've had people take their relationship to God into a forgiveness practice, and that has a profound impact. With the akasha entanglements. How our connection to God has been manipulated. We've been manipulated to going to war with people, to damning people to hell, to alienating people. We've done a lot of atrocious things, because of our belief in God. So when we're able to go back and reach back to ourselves and all those times we've acted against our truth because of our belief, and forgive ourselves, now all that energy, entanglement, regret is no longer engaged, and you can come back and you have more quantum for the here and now. I also did this for myself with the Kali Ma, and I discovered that Kali Ma had generations and generations, thousands of years of cult-like activity where they were using a lot of blood magic and stuff. So I got liberated from that, from those acts. So the sky is the limit, or actually there is no limit when it comes to what you can apply the forgiveness practice to. But the most important part is that you are in your body, feeling what's here, really being in your body, feeling what is, being engaged with that, and then wielding it as the truth that it is, which is that infinite compassion. You are a source of infinite compassion. That's the truth of your infinite nature. You're unlimited in this way, and when you're coming from that place, you're a master. Like I said, I hope that's helpful. Let me check in with what you guys are saying here. We have connection was obviously spotty to begin with, except for the picture quality. Looks like it was completely severed. Okay, we're back. Wholeness, dear soul. Thank you. All right. Forgiveness isn't a pardon. Yes. Yeah, so I guess if I were to boil it down, it's like I'm not talking about the typical human ideas, psychological ideas of forgiveness. I'm talking about going past these nesting dolls and forgiving from a bigger part of who you are. That's really what I'm talking about. And that's also what Michael was talking about too, knowing your pain all the way. And once you know all your pain all the way, the real you, your infinite nature can come forth. And in that, and then you're all the more stronger for it. All right. The other piece was the, and I talked about the afterlife. What time are we at? Oh, look at this. We're getting towards the end. There's a few other pieces. I can't go online, or else I would pull up those other pieces that were brought up by dear sister Christina and Carrie. What was the other piece here? All right, so there was the ancestral thing, the forgiveness thing. Oh, the narrative, the vaccine narrative. Okay, yeah, how can I forget that? Okay, so the reason why these narratives don't add up is because the stories that we're being fed are lies on both sides of the fence. It's a lie. Both sides of the fence, it's a lie. And it's not 100% lie, because we would totally figure that out because we're intuitive. It is truth woven in with lies woven into it, right? So there's a truth that resonates, and then they weave in these subtle lies. So whether you're left or right, red or blue, Trump or not, or Q or not, or whatever the fuck, it doesn't matter, you're being lied to on some level. And this particular narrative is a great example. All right, because it's not about depopulation. I know, and that's what we're being led to believe. It's about depopulation. No, it's about control, number one. Number two, it's about keeping humanity confused and conflicted so we don't wake up to who we are. When you take those agendas and overlay it on those stories that were told on both sides of the fence, it completely makes sense, right? That, so the powers that be are highly sophisticated, that, like I said, they know us better than we know ourselves. So we're getting manipulated at every angle. And remember, we've signed up for this game. We signed up for this game for, only you can decide what your purpose is, but you signed up for it. Even if you're suffering and your life sucks right now, and I know it's terrible to hear someone saying, oh, well, you signed up for this. It's like, on a soul level, I'm talking about that. On a personality, ego driver level, you don't, when you make these decisions to come here, you don't relate to the level of pain and suffering you're going to experience. When you're in these upper echelons of your being, you can't relate what it is to have, your legs amputated, or have some kind of debilitation, or the loss of a child, or to have a broken heart. You just don't relate to the intensity of that kind of experience. And it's on these levels that the decision was made to be here. The best that we can do is to retrain our ego driver to be in alignment with the truth of who we are, so we can see the bigger picture while we're going through these challenges, while we're going through this matrix of reality. And then we can make decisions from a different place. We can have a reference, a personal reference that's different than, the program. The program gives us this or this, right? And it's specifically done that way, so you're on one side or the other, because as long as you're on one side or the other, you're going to be part of the program. Was it Kellogg or General Mills? Both the same cereal. You know what I mean? It's like that. So it's like you're given the illusion of choice, when the real choice is not either or. It's something else that comes from within you. You create that other choice. So the decision to be here was made on this other level. You come in, there's a lot of suffering, and because of that suffering, we shut down and we lose our resources. We lose that well of infinite compassion, love, and we lose that because that's why it's happening, to make sure we lose that and we stay confused and we stay on the hamster wheel. But as soon as you come into who you really are and recognize you're an infinite being in a biosuit, you're an infinite being in a biosuit, right? Now, and that really resonates as the truth for you, now there's some other options that are available. You can actually see the lies for what they really, on another level. And this is the most unpopular one that I talk about, but I love it because I really think it's true. This is how deep the inception goes. You're infinite. I'm infinite. You're infinite. I'm not talking about your ego driver. I'm talking about the essence of who you are, the part of you that gets you out of bed every day to go into your world. That part of you is infinite. It even goes beyond these nesting dolls, okay? And that part of you is not the providence. You're not a sheep to be herded by someone who calls themselves our God. That God did not create you. They say it created you, so you are, grateful and obedient to the rules set forth. But that's not really how it is. You are infinite. You sprung out of the isness, not because some being said that's the all that is, saying, oh, I want to create this frequency here. The being, the isness, isn't what created you. You created you. You decided to come out from that isness and become the individuation that you are. You decided that. No being decided that. Okay? So you're here for a purpose far beyond what we're been allowed to believe. The belief systems of this nesting doll has quite literally cut us off on every angle. Not that we can't go past it, but we need to recognize that it's a manipulation, so we can't, accept a different perspective. This is huge. So when it comes to these narratives, the vaccine narrative, the idea is, why would they want to kill off all the people who are so willingly to give themselves over, who are willing to roll over to the rules, even though it's something that they don't want to do? Why would they kill those off? Those are the useful ones. What do they call them? Useful idiots. I know that's not nice, but still, it's a lot of us feel this way. I have dear friends that have decided to go into that game, and I'm just kind of, I'm like, well, I'm beside myself. It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Like, what happened? So this piece just doesn't compute for a lot of folks, and now perhaps with what I'm sharing with you, it can register on why it's not really computing, is because the lies are woven in with the truth. The vaccine there is a reason why they want a vax in every arm, and that is actually an intention that has been announced to the world over and over again. So this is no secret what I'm saying. They want a needle in every person's arm Now, when you look at through the lens of control, manipulation, as in to keep humanity confused, how does that fit into the narrative now? Okay, all these layers, are getting infiltrated, and we're kept upside down. Where's the payoff and all that? What is to gain by someone who wants to stay in control by having a needle in everyone's arm? Okay, and even those are with the bot technology and the AI implants and the tracking and all that. I'm here to tell you, they're already tracking you guys. I mean, we're inhaling things that are, like the black goo and the nanobots and all that stuff. We're inhaling it. It's in our bodies already. So why do they need a needle? Why do they need this other compound, right? Now I'm just leaving you guys with questions. I'm going to leave you hanging with some of these questions because I would love to hear where you go in the thoughts around this. A lot of the people that I've talked to that decided to take the vaccine did so because they were told by the caretakers, whether it be a nursing home, a assisted living facility, or a personal caretaker. They've said to people, you cannot see your mother, you cannot see your dad unless you're vaccinated. We will not allow you to have contact with your parent. So they quite literally have held your own people hostage to get this. So for me, I'm thinking it's less about the needle and more about the decision that brought you to letting that happen, right? You relinquishing your own authority and power to another structure. And think about the impact that has. Now that we talked about the ancestors and all that stuff, you know what I mean? So thinking multidimensionally, this becomes a very different kind of conversation. Okay, is there anything else, guys? Did I miss any pieces here? No. All right. I have a dear audience today. I'm on their patio recording this conversation. This beautiful, beautiful area. So thank you, guys. Thank you for letting me do this here. I'm going to check in with a question, and then I'm going to wrap up. All right. Hello, dear Carrie. What happens if you have no mother or father knowledge? Okay, because it's all right. So this is a good thing. It's not about knowledge. It's about the energy that your parent embodied, right? So if they were, if they had a lot of PTSD, a lot of trauma, or really had a really oppressive experience, then that translates energetically into the child. Your own personal healing work will help with that, and then as you have that personal healing work, you extend that to them. That will help you too. All right, 100% gotta read between the lines and listen to what people are saying and not the words they are saying. Yes, read between the lines. Good. I thank you for that, dear Spirit Bound. All right, Christina, all that you share, all that you share. Oh, it's such a gift. I relate to you in such a way that I feel deep hope and empowerment and resonance. I am very, very grateful to you. Thank you so much. Much love, darling. Thank you for that. Yeah, thank you. Well, that's my purpose for being here in this conversation, is to give you guys empowerment and share that liberated perspective. It's really challenging right now because we have to stand up for what we truly believe in. But how do we stand up what we truly believe in if we don't know what we really believe, right? If we're kind of like in limbo, if we're confused, then it's really difficult to have that resolve to stand in the level of strength that these times are calling for, right? So thank you for that. This is totally why I'm doing what I'm doing, and it's landing for you. So if it helps just one person, I'm happy. All right. I had some other questions, like I said, that other people sent in. Christina, dear sister, I wanted to respond to your question. I can't narrow the bandwidth at all to get online to check it out. So I perhaps will circle back around next week and get to that. And Joanne, you also mentioned something about authenticity in the new world, new earth. And I really want to talk about those pieces too, but there's only so many minutes in an hour, right? So thank you, everybody, for being here and being part of the conversation. If you feel drawn to dive dive into the multidimensional work deeper with me, I encourage you guys to check out the lightbodyacademy.com website. We have something called the Dreamtime Healing Project, which is like a easing into the multidimensionality work. I encourage you guys to check that out. We have room for a few more new people. I would love to, I'd love to work with you in the dream realms and help you learn how to navigate and discover who you are in all these levels and own it. So if that calls to you, I encourage you to check that out. All right, thank you again. Mwah. Love you all. Until next time.